We have Terrance McKinney taking on Ismael Bonfim, the first of the two Bonfim brothers fighting on this card. Terrance McKinney is 13-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He is coming off the submission win over Eric Gonzalez, and he's taking on Ismael Bonfim, 18-3 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. And his last loss was to Renato Moicano in 2014. Those brothers, the Bonfim brothers, are very talented. They're somewhat similar. This is the wild one. The other brother is more controlled. We'll break him down a little bit. This is the wild brother. He's a wild striker. He's got real power. No regard for straight punches. He just charges forward. Everything is looping. It's like he's throwing a baseball. He'll mix in flying knees. He can grapple. He's got solid BJJ. He's a well-rounded guy, but he's running out there for a finish. Terrance McKinney is interesting because if you go through his record, there's losses on there that you're like, oh my God. Like, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize he lost to these people. But then you see him recently and he's like, oh, he's a killer. But my biggest issue with Terrance McKinney is he is hittable. And this isn't even just the Drew Dober fight because he got as close to putting out Drew Dober as anybody's going to get. But he's hittable. Even like that win over Eric Gonzalez, he looked good in the win, but he was hit hard.
Yep.
And then needed to lean on his wrestling to get out of that danger. And somebody like Ismael with the reckless abandon and how he comes forward, if Terrance is going to stand up and play that game, he's going to be in trouble. So I'm still going to pick Terrance McKinney because he is the better fighter. He's going to have the better wrestling. He should have the more technical striking. I don't know if he'll have the better raw jiu-jitsu, but he's a very capable grappler. But he needs to be careful and not think that he's a striker in this matchup because he's going to be in a lot of trouble. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the point that you were making toward the end there with Eric Gonzalez. Eric Gonzalez was touching him a lot. And if he was landing that same way, if he made it through the first round and was doing that in the second round, he probably knocks Terrance McKinney out. And I think that's important because Eric Gonzalez is the same dude that got packed up on the feet by Jim Miller. And that's saying something, right? So sure. I'm not so high on Terrance McKinney because of the way that he fights, right? Like if he wins and I pick against him, I'll look like an idiot because he sparks the dude out in 90 seconds.
Sure.
But if he loses and you pick him, you can't really blame yourself because he doesn't fight a style that could go beyond 5 minutes, realistically.
Sure.
I think if Bonfim gets on his bike, uses footwork, stays on the outside, moves laterally, I think that if he survives those first 5 minutes and starts bombing on him for the next 5 minutes, he's going to get him out of there. And I said this on my video from earlier in the week. I think a lot of people are going to go with Gabriel Bonfim and fade Ismael Bonfim. Sure. I see it the other way around. I think that he beats Terrance McKinney by finishing him after the first round. And we'll talk about the other brother as well. But yeah, I think that Terrance McKinney just I don't know. And I also, Angelo, I have something that I need to show you. I have a little conspiracy theory about Terrance McKinney in this matchup. So I don't want them to hear me, but I think that Terrance McKinney is put in a position by the UFC to lose this fight because the UFC knows that the fans are forcing his hand to make him fight Paddy the Baddie.
And he'll smoke Paddy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they want that. I don't think they want those problems. So they're going to get somebody in there who has a decent amount of hype, can capture that McKinney hype, give him a good fight, probably put him out. So give me Ismael Bonfim here on DraftKings at his price all day. I mean, either side. You're going to need either side.
Sure.
If you're running multiple lineups, you'll need exposure to both of this. I don't know what the fight doesn't go the distance line is, but I see Jason Peace in the chat. He's on point there.
Yeah, I assume this fight is not going to go the distance as well because we've seen Terrance McKinney is a finisher, but he also gets finished. And it's not, that Drew Dober fight wasn't an anomaly. That's not the first time he's ever looked like a human, right? It definitely, I don't want to say exposed him because he didn't do anything wrong. That was a short notice fight. And he went out there, almost took that dude's head off, and then got exhausted trying for the finish, and then he got put away. But it was short notice. So let's.
But in 3 minutes. I mean, most of the guys in chat probably are last 3 minutes, but not a professional fighter, right? That's crazy.
I mean, listen, a lot of these people in the chat, no offense to them.
Just joking, chat.
Just by the way they type, some of the things they say. Physically fit people don't type the way that a lot of these people type, unfortunately. But I agree. You should play either side in DraftKings because there will be a finish, and it's hard picking who. And these odds are appropriate. I threw a little half a unit on Terrance McKinney when I first broke this down. I regret that bet deeply, deeply. But it was during the 3-week lull. The lines dropped, and I was like, minus 136. People are obsessed with Terrance. That line's going to take off, and he should win this fight. He went all the way down to like minus 105, and now it's creeping back up. He's at minus 126. So it'll probably continue to move a little bit, but end up somewhere near here. So I regret that bet. I actually have that note. If you're a premium member and you saw the bet, it's not just a list of bets, right? There's some context. I have the note there. With full transparency, because if it hits, I'm going to count it. Like I'm going to, hey, I had that. But if it, but I have the caveat there. Like I don't love this. This is not a high confidence bet. So,
I wanted to bring this up and see what your thoughts are. The way Terrance McKinney fights, right? And some guys who are professional fighters. You know what gyms are like. Terrance McKinney. Normally, a lot of guys fight the way that they train, right? Like if you watch Alex Volkanovski, that guy trains and fights the same way. Sean Strickland quite literally trains and fights the same way.
Yeah.
There's no way Terrance McKinney is fighting or training this way in the gym, right? He's not going balls to the wall trying to put guys out. So what that tells me is there might be a mental issue going on, right? Some kind of mental block where he gets in there, he's high up on adrenaline, and he wants to finish the guy immediately, as opposed to having a relaxed, composed, athletic performance. He just kind of gets into some killer mentality, and I don't know if that's going to work against a tough Brazilian in his own backyard this week.
Yeah, the backyard thing is interesting. Well, there's a lot of dynamics going on here. So Terrance is at a decent gym, but not a massive gym. He's with Jucow, and they got a couple of good guys there. Jucow's a phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy. My issue to go against Terrance, I feel like he's thinking he's a little better than he is. And I'm not basing that off anything other than every time the UFC cuts to him when he's at an event, it's like, dude, you're fighting in 2 weeks. You're wearing that stupid ass shirt, hanging out with these people. You flew across the country to act like this right now. Like, dude, you're flying across the world in a week, in 2 weeks to fight. Like, what is happening? And then the other side of that, to go for him, listen, brothers fighting on the same card, I don't know, right? But even teammates fighting on the same card sometimes is too much pressure. And if one loses, the other one is going to, it's very hard to just put that aside. You're worried about your loved one. Obviously, Ismael's fighting first, so it'll be less pressure for him. But, there's a lot going on there. UFC debut in Brazil on a card with his brother. Against somebody who's very tough, very talented. So I like Terrance McKinney to win. I'm going to fade them, as far as any additional bets. I did do that half a unit on Terrance that I'm sort of regretting. If I can undo it, I would. But, it'll be a fun fight for sure. And I definitely understand the logic of one of them should be in your DraftKings lineup because there will be a finish here for sure. It's like heavyweights basically, except way more talented.
Right.
Monkey Knife Mike Straight Line, I'm just not going to touch it because this could be real fast or not touching it at all.
Yeah.
Do you think this goes over 1.5? What do you think?
Over 1.5 rounds, I think it's so tough. I think it's so tough to call. For the monkey knife fight thing, it's tough because 40 strikes for Terrance McKinney. If Terrance McKinney hits somebody 40 times who isn't Drew Dober, they probably die.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I would say the less makes more sense there. And I guess you would say the less for the other guy as well. I think that makes sense. Less.
And they come out bombing.
Probably. I don't think it might go under a round and a half. Yeah, 7.5 minutes. I don't know if it lasts that long. The under might be the play here.
I mean, I ate shit this past weekend when I did the over on the Charles Johnson Flick fight.
Oh, yeah.
And because I was like, over 1.5, Flick's pretty tough. Charles Johnson, he's got power, but not. And then that was stupid. I didn't bet it. It wasn't a bet, but I had it in fantasy. So yeah, and that's it's Saturday night. You're like, why the hell did I do this? What am I, an idiot? Or it's like, told you, I'm a genius. Bryce Mitchell's a redneck who sucks. So I was loving that. Anyway, WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. You will unlock all of our bets. When I say ours, not Kunith. Mine and Jacob's. Kunith has his own thing going on, so head over to him, subscribe to him, sign up for his premium, do those things. But, also do mine. And do mine first. And then see, like, your budget, what you have left, and then go check out other people. Sorry. It's just how this goes.
Hey, I'm in your house. I get it.